Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the latter. Today we're looking at Crossout from Rainbow Arts. And yes, there's been some considerable debate over how to pronounce that name over the years, but yes, it is Crossout. If you look at some of the other versions of the game, particularly the Commodore 64 version, it actually spells it out on the loading screen that you're supposed to pronounce it Crossout, not X-out, as I always assumed. This game was very well regarded at the time of its original release, with some magazines declaring it one of the best shoot-em-ups on both 8-bit and 16-bit microcomputers, so I'm very interested to give it a go and see how well it stacks up to some of the giants of the genre today. It was even considered as a formidable alternative to the home ports of R-Type by Activision, and it's set in the futuristic year of 2019, where you play a 40-year-old who's just been fired from his job and has rather foolishly agreed to go and pilot a experimental sub to investigate an apparent underwater alien invasion. So, you thought your 2020 was bad? Pity the poor hero of Crossout. Anyway, let's go see if this really is the best shoot-em-up of the 16-bit and 8-bit eras. Let's go play Crossout.
Okay, here we are with Crossout from Rainbow Arts. Had a bit of a mare trying to get this to... Here's the noise. Yeah, had a bit of a mare trying to get this to run because the original disc didn't want to boot for some reason. So we're running this from one of the automation collection, which does have the benefit of having the whole game on one disc rather than split across two, so we shouldn't have to do any disc swapping in this, which is nice. I've not played this before, but I remember reading some reviews of it back in the day that said it was very, very good. Like I say, supposedly one of the best shoot-em-ups on Atari ST. As to how well it stands up today, I have no idea because I've never played it, so I'm quite curious to give this a go. So let's do just that. So yeah, any sort of weird coloured flickering you see in the background is a result of it being on that automation disc. It's compressed onto the one disc. And the flickery effects are the game decompressing into memory. Alright, so we begin. We begin with a delightful individual over at the top there. We use the mouse, not the joystick here. So basically we pick a ship type from these ones here. So let's start with this one, for argument's sake. I guess we pop that over here. Yep. And then we pick various weapons to put on there. So let's maybe say we have a nice spread shot on the front. These mouse controls are very unresponsive. Okay, so triple shot on the front. And then we got these various additional weapons we can add on there as well. So we have this. We can pop on there. Not really sure what any of these do, but... So presumably it doesn't allow you to select anything that you've already got covered, as it were. Alright, so I guess that's what we're going with. Let's see what happens. You know, people complain about loading breaks these days, but back in this era, I found that they sort of built a really nice sense of anticipation. Particularly if they bothered to sort of play some music or some sound effects while you were waiting. And off we go. Now, already I can tell you, this is quite noticeably smoother than I think any other shoot 'em up I've played on the Atari ST. Except possibly Blood Money. Blood Money is pretty slick. Some nice animation, some nice graphics. Lack of sound effects is a bit of a shame, but that's also to be expected with the way the Atari ST sound chip works. It's only got 3 channels per old thing. And therefore if it's playing a relatively elaborate piece of music like this, it just doesn't have the... Oh no! It just doesn't have the capacity to be able to have some sound effects along with the music as well. And we are dead. Good start. Positive first impressions though. Seemed a little bit tricky to avoid taking damage. But I'm sure we can figure something out if we give it another go. Right, let's try again. Let's try one of these other ships. What about this one? Don't know what's up with these mouse controls. That's really weirdly difficult to handle. Okay, let's see what this does. And no money left for anything else, I don't think. I think what you can do is if you've got enough money, you can actually buy several ships, and that basically gives you several different lives. Or you can have one very strong, very well kitted out ship, like I assume we've got here. Guess we'll have to see. But this aspect of things is one of the things that was praised quite heavily about this game back in the day. The fact that it was very customizable. You could pick and choose how you wanted to play it, basically. Alright. Let's see how we get on with this. Well, thus far the ship seems to be performing quite nicely. That rotating option was a good choice. We are taking a lot of damage without me noticing, though. It seems quite difficult to notice when you're actually taking damage. Because the only sign that it's happening, really, is your energy bar depleting down the bottom. And there's no invincibility frames or anything like that. Yeah, need to try some alternative strategies, I think. So let's see if we can load up several ships. So presumably this one up the top is the cheapest. We got 12,000. Yeah, that's much cheaper than the other one. So what if we give that one these? Oh, those are expensive. Can't afford another ship. Okay, forget that plan then. How about I did like the rotating option, so let's have that again. And what else can we... Probably can't afford anything with 100, can we? Alright, well, let's give that a go. In theory, that triple laser should be the most powerful. But that might not be what we need in this first level. We might just need to protect ourselves a bit better. I am ready. Bring it on. Right, just keep an eye on that health bar down at the bottom. He says, actually doing quite a bit better than in previous attempts. Maybe the more powerful laser was the way to go. I think part of the trouble with this is likely to be that in terms of Western shoot 'em ups, this was still the age before people had really figured out the idea of making shoot 'em ups where your hitbox is smaller than your sprite. Which is something that Japanese developers mastered quite quickly, but it took Western developers a lot longer to latch onto that fact. And as such, a lot of Western shoot 'em ups are kind of unnecessarily challenging because of it. Am I supposed to let him do something? Or oh, no, there we go. Okay, well, this is going better than it was, certainly. I like the music. It's got an interesting vibe to it. And the underwater setting is certainly unusual and pretty cool. Possibly Darius inspired. Ship designs are cool, and like I say, that scrolling is actually pretty impressive for the ST. Poor old ST was not known for its scrolling capabilities, bless it. Which meant a lot of games like this often ended up being significantly better on the Amiga. Not just for the sound, but for the overall sort of slickness of the experience. But yeah, I can very much see why people would have been very happy with this in today. Got some nice big sprites. Impressive boss enemies. Or end of level guardians says, oh! That was not very nice. He took out pretty much my entire life bar with one hit. What a bastard. Anyway, that was a more positive experience. Okay. It does very much appear to be about setting up your ship in an optimal manner then. So let's experiment a bit more. So I like the powerful lasers. So let's maybe try a slightly lower power version of them. And we'll pop that there. And then we'll have the rotating option again, because I am very fond of that. Let's see what this does. So I guess that's it. Let's see what happens. This is nice. This is the nice thing about games with some sort of character customization about them, whether they're role-playing games or shoot-'em-ups or whatever. The fun thing is experimenting with them in sort of the opening stage of the game and seeing how differently the game feels with each of those things in place. So it's the same reason why people play stuff like Baldur's Gate and that sort of thing and decide to start over again with a completely different character class. Because it can make the game feel very different. Alright, let's see how we get on this time. Okay, so the flaming thing we picked up you have to sort of charge up, I think, by holding down the button. And then the next time you press the fire button after that, it sets it off. Not super convenient. But it does seem to be pretty powerful. So I guess that might be useful on the boss, at least. It's difficult to aim that thing. This bit is kind of stupid. Maybe I am doing something wrong here. No, doesn't seem to be anything else we can really do here. Hit him while he's down. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, I guess you have to let him rise up a bit more and then shoot him while he's unshielded. That makes sense. Oh, I'm dead! Didn't even see what killed me there. I have mixed feelings about this game so far. Yes, it's impressive. Yes, it performs well. Yes, the controls are nice and responsive. Apart from those awful mouse controls, I don't know what's wrong with those. But there's certain sort of fundamental things from modern shoot-'em-ups that this game is lacking that makes it a little bit tricky to enjoy. I think the lack of feedback on being hit is probably the worst one. Let's try a different ship. Let's try this one. Let's put the maxed out lasers on it. Can we afford that? We cannot. We can't afford any of them. Nice! Can't afford some missiles though. Let's have some missiles. Alright, let's see what happens this time. Yeah, so mixed feelings so far. I can see why this was well received, but also at the same time, if you compare it to console shoot-em-ups of the time, those still win by a huge margin. Just because right from the very earliest days, right from the earliest days of 8-bit shoot-em-ups, a lot of console shoot-em-ups really nailed the feeling of hitboxes, invincibility frames, giving suitable feedback to the player. And a lot of that side of things is just sort of missing from this. I think the biggest problem with this game is just not being able to tell when you've been hit. And sometimes you'll just look down at your health bar and it's half what it was before and you have no idea why. But like I say, the things that this game does well, they should be acknowledged. Because this is some impressively speedy scrolling and sprite handling for the ST. And those things are both super important for shoot-em-ups. Alright, let him come up. No, don't do that. Blast him a bit. There we are. That's much easier, isn't it? See, where's my health gone? Like, what even hit me? I don't know. And there doesn't seem to be any way to replenish your health either. Level designs are certainly interesting. Lots of moving up and down and terrain to navigate around. And they're learnable, memorizable levels, which is cool. At least it doesn't fall into the oft-seen Western trap of just flinging... Oh, for fuck's sake. Doesn't fall into the oft-seen Western trap of just flinging random hordes of enemies at you. There are patterns to things that you can follow and you can figure out and you can avoid. But yeah, there's just those fundamental flaws in the experience. Just kind of spoil it a little bit. Excuse me. My back is going. I'm an old man. Right, we'll have one more go at this and then we'll call it a day. So I remain unconvinced that this was the best shoot-em-up of the day. Maybe it was the best shoot-em-up available on home computers at the time. But it's certainly not a patch on the best that the consoles had to offer at the time. You compare this to stuff on the Mega Drive in particular, and the difference should be readily apparent. Right, I'm going with this configuration because I think that's been my favourite so far. Alright, let's do this. So, I think I know some of the things that have been causing the most problems to my safety and well-being. So I'll watch out for those this time. One of those is that big sub that's after the first mini-boss. That shoots out a big white torpedo that's actually quite difficult to see against the backdrop. And I think getting hit by that takes off a substantial portion of life. So let's try not to let that happen. Shoot that? Nope. What? What just happened? Okay, you know when I said that was the last go? Well, what I actually meant was I would fuck up that attempt completely and then we'd have another go. So, let's do that. I don't hate this, but it is trying my patience just very slightly. Yeah, the other thing that a lot of console shooters get better than this, I think, is difficulty balance and difficulty curve. So this is very tough right from the beginning. Whereas if I think of some of my favourite console shooters, a lot of them are tough, yes, but they tend to at least make the first level manageable. So that even if you're not very good at shoot-'em-ups in general, you can kind of get that sense of achievement of actually beating one level. And I mean, we've obviously come close several times because we've reached the boss of this level, but that boss just has that very difficult to avoid attack that pretty much one-shots you, so I don't know. Right, whatever happens, this is the last attempt. Unless I do what I did last time, in which case I'm not standing for that. The fact I want to keep trying again is something that this game has going for it. Like, I'm not having such a ridiculous, bullshit, unfair experience that I never want to play this game ever again. I do actually want to progress. I do want to see what comes next. Alright, don't get killed by this guy this time. Alright, let him rise up like the gamers. Ow. There we go. Alright, watch out for the sub with the big torpedo. Yeah, see, it fires them and they're really quick and they blend in with the background, which is not a nice combination of things. For the most part, the bullets in this are quite clear. That one is not. And when it's such a powerful bullet, that's a bit of a problem. Uh-oh. Taking some hits. Right. This little shit. Oh. No! No, 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 no! That is bullshit. Oh dear. He does seem to fire that regularly, so I guess you could figure out the timing on that. But you have so little time to react to that and get a feel for it when you encounter him, and you've then got to play through the whole bloody level before you can try again. Yeah. 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 Things to like about this, things to not like about it as well. Is it the best shoot 'em up on the Atari ST? I don't know. I mean, it's good. But I think I prefer stuff like Blood Money. I know not everyone loves Blood Money, but Blood Money is probably my favourite shoot 'em up on the Atari ST, just because that to me has a good balance of customizability and varied levels and interesting enemies and that sort of thing. It doesn't feel like it's ridiculously unfair. It's still challenging. It's still got its faults. With hitboxes and invincibility frames, all the usual stuff from the period, but I don't know, I like it a little bit more than this one. I can see why people like this one. I can see why people thought this was very good back in the day. But as I say, having grown accustomed to the console way of doing things with shoot 'em ups, this is a little bit harder to go back to these days. Which is a bit of a shame, but you know, if you're interested in seeing how the genre was approached on microcomputers of the day by Western developers, this is as good as an example as any, I'd say. Just don't go into it expecting the best shoot 'em up of all time or anything like that. Yeah, anyway, so mixed feelings on that, but I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I've finally given it a go. And I'm interested to try the sequel as well, which is called Z Out, or Z Out, one of those two things. So we'll have Z in a couple of weeks. So we'll have a look at that and see how it compares to this one. From what I understand, it's not quite as fondly regarded as this, for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't really looked into it yet, but that'll be interesting to compare and contrast in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll do that, I think, as long as I remember to do that. Anyway, let's leave that there for today. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.